Hello, everyone, and welcome to this full moon forecast for January 6th. We have a full moon in sidereal Gemini in the lunar mansion called Punarvasu. So, this is just within the beginning of Punarvasu. So, prior to this, the full moon phase is in the lunar mansion called Ardra. And both of these are in Gemini. Punarvasu also moves into Cancer, so it bridges both Gemini and Cancer. And it's the journey really from the stormy emotions that can often arise in Ardra at a stage where we're having to clear something. Ardra's symbolism is very much about restoration in many ways, but also demolition and reconstruction and some sort of clearing that takes place. It's ruled by the god of storms, Rudra, a fierce and angry form of Lord Shiva. So there's this kind of storminess that's possible emotionally and mentally, because of course it's in the sign Gemini. So the potential here is for that, of course, during the full moon phase on the 6th, leading up to the full moon itself. By the end of the 6th here, where I am, it might be earlier where you are, depending. So Greenwich Mean Time, it's late at night on the 6th, about 10 o'clock. But this kind of clearing then occurs then afterwards and moves us into this Punarvasu lunar mansion where the exact full moon occurs on the 6th. And that is this sense of light again, and this clearing, and this almost like a breaking through the clouds and seeing that clarity. Now, at the same time, there's likely to be a lot of confusion around especially the details, because this is a full moon in Gemini. The ruler of Gemini, Mercury, is now retrograde. So Mercury is retrograde exactly opposite the full moon, almost by exact degree for the full moon itself. It's in Sagittarius, it's opposite. So it's all about Sagittarius. It's not about the details and working out all the details in Gemini, even though the full moon is in Gemini. It's about finding a balance between those details and actually connecting with something much, much deeper within. That's Sagittarius. That's the truth of who we really are, in a sense. That's our purpose on this planet. That's a sense of knowing what is right. And Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, opposite this full moon and therefore conjunct the sun, is an important juncture, in a sense, a new Mercury, in a way, if you want to call it, where Mercury comes together with the sun during its retrograde, which is called the inferior conjunction. But it's basically like this reset point, this new Mercury, this new insight, this kind of new mind around this full moon, around the emotional issues that are culminating and processing and hopefully resolving around the full moon as well, around the details. So getting a balance right between the details and the bigger picture, and the bigger picture again being what's important, what's right for you, what gives your life purpose and meaning, in other words. If you get lost in the details right now, that's understandable. Mercury's retrograde. But the potential here for also just keeping an eye on the bigger picture and connecting to and figuring out what is more meaningful to you by just sitting still, by being quiet, by just connecting with something beyond the fluctuations of the mind that are quite likely to be quite intense during this period. Again, nothing wrong with that, but during a full moon, the tendency for everything is to be sort of ramped up. So instead, if you can just quieten things down, you'll be able to more easily access this sense of knowing within yourself, this inner knowing or inner intelligence, you might say, or intuition. So that's what Sagittarius is all about. And so getting a balance right between these two signs, Gemini and Sagittarius, for this full moon is a really big part of finding balance in our own lives, in our, you might say, higher and lower mind, in our ability to work things out for ourselves, that's Gemini, and the ability to connect to something greater than ourselves, that's Sagittarius. A truth that is accessed initially through ourselves, our own experience, our own subjective experience of truth, but that goes much further beyond that. So the full moon is, like I said, opposite Mercury retrograde. So this means that this Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun is the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde. So we're only halfway through it. And whatever it is that you're trying to work out for yourself, in your head, this might be a good time, like I said, to quieten the mind down to be able to kind of sense into the truth. But it's still only the halfway point. So whatever insights that you have about what is true for you, what is right for you, it's really more of a time to sort of connect with that and not to necessarily figure it all out at this stage. You might just get hints at something right now, and the details won't be clear, at least at this point, and they will be forthcoming, of course. Added to that, we have Mars, which is continuing to retrograde and aspecting Mercury and the Sun in Sagittarius from its position in Taurus, and the moon having just met with Mars retrograde in Taurus. We're really having to kind of backtrack an awful lot and, be patient with this Mars retrograde, especially at the last stage. Mars retrogrades, for, a couple of months. It's not unusual in a sense. Every couple of years it does this, but it's really by the end of it where we kind of can really get built up and get tense because things don't seem to be working out or moving forward as quickly as we'd like. And especially at this juncture in this new year and in any new year period, when these two planets now, Mars and Mercury, are both moving backwards from our perspective, it's just not going anywhere anytime soon. So we need to be really patient. If you have your New Year's resolutions, be really, really patient with that. Think about joining me on the Patreon platform as well if you haven't already, because I do offer lots on that platform. One of the things I'm offering right now is a 12-day intention setting calendar. So I'm going through each of the 12 houses leading up to Mars's station direct on January 12th and asking all the participants to really look at their whole chart from a holistic perspective, but also individually each house or each place in their chart to see what is stopping them from getting what they want and what do they want? What do you want? What do you intend for each part, each place, each house? So if you like, you can join me at patreon.com/timeline astrology, or just go to timelineastrology.com and you can see the links there. So for everyone, thank you for listening to this all the way through. To all the best, as always, and until next time.